Hello and welcome to episode 16 of Gameday Gameplay, the sports segment of Console Space. I'm your host Sean Colangelo, joined as always by the man I envy the most in the wintertime, Todd from Florida. How's it going, man?
It's going good, Sean. How you doing?
Not too bad. Man, winter, it's just, we're, I mean, I don't know why I'm surprised, because it's pretty much like this every year, but we're closing in on April, and we got like, 8 inches of snow this week. Um, just brutal, man. It just won't die. Waking up in the mornings for work and it's like 20 degrees. Um,
Yeah.
just won't die.
Winter's
But
holding on for dear life, huh?
yes, it is. But it always does. So nothing really new. But can't imagine it's gonna last for too much longer. So whatever. So we had to skip last week because you're a bum. No, I'm just kidding. You were busy, no big deal. We have some catching up to do, not a big deal. I don't know what you want to start with. What do you want to start with? I'll just let you
Well, I
have
guess
at
let's
it.
let's talk about the tournament. Um, start with
Yes,
that.
there's some
Uh,
upsets. So
there were a lot of upsets. Um, it's pretty crazy. We saw history being made this year. A number one seed lost to a 16 seed for the first time ever in the tournament. 135 games, and it's the first time it's happened.
yeah,
Not only that, but they lost by 20 points.
that was.
And it wasn't like a last second buzzer beater. Like it was, they got spanked by
Now
the
you don't
16 UVA
you
team.
don't happen to know offhand how long the tournament has been around, do you?
In that format, uh, 100 second here. Well, if the math works out, 34 years. If it was 136 games before that, before a number one seed had lost.
Wow,
So
that's
yeah,
nuts.
it's pretty insane. Um, on top of that, I mean, there is just upset after upset, man. There's only two number one seeds left. Nova and Kansas are in there, but the South bracket, I think the highest seed left right now is ninth seed. Like, it's pretty crazy. In terms of who's left, they're into the grade eight at this point, or the Elite Eight, I guess they call it in that one. I don't know. Um, but Kansas City, or not Kansas City, Kansas State. I apologize. I'm thinking of the NFL. Kansas State is number nine seed. They're playing Loyola Chicago, number 11, who have upset three teams now off last minute shots, like last second shots. So um, Florida State is playing Michigan. That's a number nine versus a number three. So over on the left side of the bracket, that's number three is your highest left seed, and then a nine, nine, and an 11. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, a lot of people are kind of saying it's I don't know, like a bad year, I guess, because there are so many like not higher ranked teams that have progressed very far.
Win the games is what I would have to say. That like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah,
If they want to have a single game tournament like this, then you can't really be upset when lower seeded teams win. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Yeah,
um,
a fair point.
but those are the four teams that are playing today, and then tomorrow the other side of the bracket's pretty normal to be honest with you. The right side, you got number three Texas Tech playing number one Villanova, and then number two Duke playing number one Kansas. So that's typically what you expect to see out of the Elite Eight on that side. But the other side of the bracket, I mean, Michigan's number three. I had them actually picked to go there. Out of that, though, I mean, it's crazy to see one ninth seed make it, much less two ninth seeds and then an 11th.
Yeah,
But in terms of what I think is going to happen from here, I think Loyola could beat Kansas State, man. Um, they're on a tear. They won 11 straight before they came into the tournament, and they've beat Miami, Tennessee, and Nevada now. So I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't beat Kansas State too. But I think Michigan will handle FSU. Michigan's playing really good ball right now. And then in terms of the games tomorrow, I think Villanova will beat Texas Tech. I just watched Villanova dismantle WVU last night, and WVU played well. On top of that, they played well. They forced 11 turnovers, played good defense, and Villanova still dropped 90 on them.
Yeah,
So,
what happened there? Because so so I actually was at the Penguins game last night,
mm-hmm.
and we checked the score. I think it was like sometime in the second half. I think the Mountaineers were winning.
They were up by 7 points with about 12 minutes left in the second. But Villanova just went on a tear. They weren't missing, man. They were dropping every one of their shots.
Oh wow.
WVU has a bad tendency of not shooting well, too. I mean, if they shoot 50%, they're doing good. If they shoot 40%, they're doing good. Like it's
Yeah.
they miss a lot of shots, and they went on a streak where they missed, and Villanova wasn't missing. It wasn't pretty, but and then Kansas and Duke. I honestly think Duke will probably take that one. I had Kansas set to go all the way when I first did my bracket, but they haven't been playing great ball so far. Duke's been pretty hot, so I think it'll end up being Villanova and Duke, and then Loyola Chicago and Michigan on the other side. I think out of that, it's probably Villanova and Michigan in the final game, with Villanova taking it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they were one of the favorites coming in, so that's not
They
super
were. I don't
surprising.
think they were this highly ranked, but I mean, if you could drop 90 points off one of the best defensive teams in basketball in WVU, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to be stopped.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah. But if you want to transition from that directly into the other basketball side of things and cover the NBA, we could do that.
Yeah. Sure.
All right. So, getting down to crunch time, my friend. Most
Yeah.
teams
I was
have.
gonna say we're not too far from playoffs, so.
No, we are not. We are not. Most teams are in their last, 10, or so games left in the schedule. A couple teams have clinched here. Before we start going down the standings, though, we got two kind of big injury news things going on. Steph Curry has been out recently with some ankle problems. He finally came back to a game last night, and then he hurts his knee, and now he's out again. We don't know how serious of an injury it's going to be. Knee injuries are kind of a bad thing in basketball. They're kind of hard to play through. Um, so if he's out, that's a huge blow for Golden State, uh, who already really aren't the favorites in the West with Houston playing as good a ball as they are right now. So have to see how that goes with him. Over on the Eastern side of things, Kyrie Irving has been struggling with knee injuries, pretty much off and on all year. He's having surgery on his knee. It's minimally invasive. They're saying it's not really that big a deal, but any kind of surgery on the knee is kind of a big deal, especially this close to the playoffs. Um, Boston's really hoping he can
Yeah.
come back because they are not the same team without Kyrie.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah. I mean, they've got some decent players around him. I mean, like Tatum's good, Brown's good, uh, Horford's good, but you take out the guy that's facilitating that entire offense and Kyrie when he draws double coverage every night and still will drop 25 points. Without him, they're not going to win a playoff round for sure.
Right. It would be tough.
Yeah, 100%. But in terms of what's going on, in terms when we talk about the playoffs, three teams in the East have clinched. That would be Toronto, Boston, and Cleveland. They're in even if they lose the rest of their games. Over in the West, Houston and Golden State have clinched. They're the only two that have. Um, in terms of who's probably going to make it, Philadelphia, Indiana, and Washington all look pretty safe right now. Um, Really, so do Miami and Milwaukee on the East. Detroit is 6 games back of Milwaukee between 8 and 9, so it's possible, but that would be a hell of a jump to make this late in the season. Um, so that's probably who you're gonna have set in the East. Over in the West, it gets a little more interesting. Right now, Portland, Oklahoma City, and New Orleans are sitting at 3 through 5. San Antonio is sixth. Minnesota is 7th, and Utah is 8th. Denver is only 1 game back of Utah at 9th, and then the Clippers are 3 games back of Utah. So there could be a little more jockeying over there, but for the most part, most teams know they're either in or out, and it's just about who's finishing where at this point.
Yeah.
Um, in terms of favorites this year, I know you asked Cody this earlier while we were in a party with him. Houston's gonna be hard to beat, man. Houston is playing some ridiculously good basketball. They're 58 and 14.
Wow. Yeah, that's
Yeah, Harden's playing better than he's ever played, and that's saying a lot because he usually plays pretty good. Uh, I think he's the runaway MVP this year. I don't know how they give it to anyone else. And with Golden State dealing with a bunch of injuries, I don't think anyone else in the West is really going to be able to challenge them. In the East, I don't know. Boston, like I said, if they don't have Kyrie, they'll probably get knocked out early. Toronto's been playing good ball, but I don't know how well it's going to translate to the playoffs. Cleveland's LeBron, but that's really all they've got. I don't really see anyone dethroning Houston this year.
man. When's the, have they ever won it?
Houston?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. They won back in the. I know at the very least they've won it in the '90s with Olajuwon,
Okay.
and I'd have to look up how many they've actually won, but I think they won one fairly recently too, like within the last 10 years when they had Yao Ming and a couple other guys around him.
Oh, maybe when they had T Mac.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it hasn't been that long. I think. I mean, it's been a couple years, but it hasn't been as long as they think it has been.
You're right.
It seems like it. I mean, it just seems like the last forever it's been Golden State and Cleveland. It's just only been 3 years, but still.
Yeah. Well, that is a long. Yeah, that's a long time in terms of like sports seasons. You know.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is. But yeah, that's really all I've got in basketball. We're coming down to the wire. By next week, I think we should know pretty much, maybe except for the bottom couple seeds who's in and out. So we'll definitely cover that then.
For sure. Well, we're also coming down to the wire in the NHL, so let's go ahead and just shift to that.
All right, we got some pretty big name injuries here. Not so much specifically to teams that are in the playoff hunt, but could affect it. Sean Monahan is out for the rest of the season with Calgary. Undisclosed injury. I think it's fairly recent. I don't know exactly what happened, but he is not going to play for them for the rest of the season. Um, that's hurting them for sure, but I don't think they were going to make the playoffs anyway. They are 8 points out of the playoff spot as of right now, with only about I think 9 games left to play.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, even if it did, probably wouldn't have went far anyway. But you know.
No, they wouldn't have went far, not for sure, for sure. This one's definitely not going to have a playoff indication because Detroit's already eliminated. But Mike Green is out for the rest of the season for Detroit. I am amazed he didn't move at the deadline. Like I am purely shocked he didn't move at the deadline. I don't know why Detroit wouldn't have taken whatever they could get for him because he's expiring after this season and they're not going to re-sign him. So
Yeah, I mean, that is very weird. And you know, I mean, they obviously aren't making the playoffs. I,
no, and I mean even I guess. Well, I mean they moved to Tar, so if they thought they were going to make the playoffs, they wouldn't have done that trade either. Although they did get a king's ransom for him, but um,
well,
yeah, I mean,
dude. Speaking of them not making the playoffs, did you know this will be the first year since 1969 without the Wings or Hawks in the playoffs?
oh wow, really?
Yep, that's
I'm guessing
insane.
most of that is probably the Wings, given they had a 25-year run.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
Because
I know there was a period there where the Hawks were really bad
yeah, I mean the
in the
Hawks.
early 2000s.
Yeah, they were up and down for a while. Yeah, I mean, man, you know, we knew the Hawks weren't going to be like at the top of the league, but man, they really fell off this year.
I did not. Yeah, I didn't predict them to not make the playoffs this year. That's for sure. Uh, in terms of what happened with them, I mean, Seabrook's play has fallen off badly. Crawford's been in and out all year too, and they've had kind of piss poor goaltending behind them, so that didn't help. Um, but I mean, they're just starting to realize that you can't construct a roster around two guys making 10.5 million, especially when one of those guys is a 50-point player.
No, for sure. I mean, I used to think the Penguins had too much like money tied up in their core. And then you look at the Hawks and it's like, damn, I mean, they've kind of screwed themselves for a while
Yeah,
because I mean, no one's taking on those contracts.
no,
Uh,
no. Seabrook's contract isn't getting moved.
no.
I mean, they have a couple friendly contracts. Like Duncan Key's contract's actually really good. He's only making like 5.5, and he's playing 24 minutes a night. But when you're offsetting that by paying Seabrook 7.5, and he's a healthy scratch half the time, it's
Yeah, oof, not
not
good.
really doing much for you.
Not good
Um,
at all.
yeah, I mean, when the Pens signed Crosby and Malkin, at the time it was kind of almost similar to the cap crunch, but because they signed with such long contracts and they're still in those contracts, they're kind of with the cap going up, the 8.7 for Sid's not looking anywhere near as bad as it used to. Even the 9.5 for Malkin isn't. So,
Yeah, well, especially if the cap increases as much as it could this off season,
mm-hmm.
their contracts are actually looking like. I don't want to say they're a bargain, but when you look at Kane and Taves and now look at Connor McDavid's, like
Yeah.
comparatively, they're relatively cheap.
I
Um,
mean, let's talk about Sidney Crosby. If the cap goes up to 80 million, he's at just over 10% of the cap hit for your player.
yeah,
Um, for a guy of Sid's caliber who's dropping 80-point seasons pretty much perennially,
yeah. Who is
that's a bargain contract. It is.
yeah, yeah. Who I mean is um probably at the point where he's on the other side of the hill and will begin to slowly kind of exit his prime, but he's still considered probably the best player in the world. I mean, yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
not too bad of a contract. So,
No, but and then last bit of injury news I had. This one actually could affect the team that's trying to make the playoffs. Spezza could miss the rest of the regular season. It's not 100% sure yet, but he's dealing with an injury right now and he is out. So Dallas is down their second center, and now I think Barzil's out too. So they're down their third center too. So
dude, I don't know why
there's
I always forget they have Spezza.
he's I don't know. He's never a flashy player. He hasn't been since he was at Ottawa at least.
Well, yeah, when he was younger in Ottawa, he was like really good, and like he's still a solid player, but I don't know why. Maybe he's just kind of overshadowed by
Sagan.
Sagan and Ben. But
Eh,
yeah, I don't know. Every time they play, I'm just like, oh yeah, they have Spezza. I forgot about that.
yeah. But they've fallen out of a playoff spot pretty
Oh
heavily.
wow, jeez.
We'll cover that when we go over the standings here in a second, but that's actually kind of surprising me. But before we do the standings, there has been a change with the goalie interference replays. I don't know if you heard about this.
Oh boy, I can only imagine.
Well, it's not much of a change, but basically the final call on each ruling is coming from Toronto now instead of the refs working the game.
Okay,
So it's still a judgment call, but at least it's a judgment call coming from the same person or the same group of people. You know what I mean? So we should see a little more consistency with the way it's called.
right.
Assumingly, I mean, you would think. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see how it goes. But I think that's the biggest problem with it. Before is that the refs were making the final call, and so you had. I mean, how many refs are there in the NHL? That can make different calls based off of what they see. This way, with Toronto making the final decision, the Situation Room, At least it's the same group of people making the decision in every one of these cases, so there should be consistency, more consistency at least than there was.
Uh, in theory, yeah. Hopefully, I mean,
In theory.
yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I think there's always going to be some inconsistency with officiating. I think that's part of the human element, and I think that's okay. But there definitely is a. It seems like there's. I don't know. I mean, I was gonna say it seems like there's more of an issue in the NHL than other sports. That's probably not true. I mean, there's obviously because I know that they actually well, I don't know, maybe we'll get to that when we get to the NFL because I know that they actually changed the catch rule now. Um, but I don't know. Anyway, I'll let you
Yeah,
continue.
I mean, it. I guess the thing is with hockey, goals are so hard to come by that when you get kind of screwed over and take one away, I mean, it's hard to imagine the impact of that in terms of any other sport. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I mean, in football, in most cases, if you get a touchdown call overturned, you still have the ball right where you tried from last time, and you can still try for the touchdown again. In hockey, it's basically like, oh well, you know what I mean? Like start
Yeah.
back from scratch. So,
Right.
um, but let's take a look at the standings here, because like you said, we are coming down to the wire. A lot of teams are down to their last 8 or so games. Over in the East, the Metro, it's Washington still leading the way. They have 93. Pittsburgh is behind them in second with 90, and Columbus is right behind them with 89. Um, Pittsburgh is lucky they stole a point from New Jersey last few
Yes,
games.
my streak got broken, man. I had
Well, they're still undefeated in regulation.
That's true. Um,
So,
Last night, so so this went back almost 2 full years ago. Um, I was I was undefeated in 12 straight Penguins games that I had attended in person, and that came to an end last night. I was shocked that the Pens even fought back for a point. They looked great in the first period. I mean,
yeah,
they were all over Jersey, and per usual, because for some reason that's been a theme with the Pens a lot this season. They just can't seem to put a complete game together, and they had a horrible second period, and mostly horrible third, but they did come back and tie it up. Got a point, so whatever. But um, yeah, they need to start putting together full games if they're going to win in the playoffs. It's not looking so hot
yeah,
at the moment, but we'll see.
for sure, for sure. Um, I hear you, but over in the Atlantic, Tampa is still sitting at first with 106 points. They have clinched the playoffs. They can't miss. Boston's behind them with 102. They've also clinched. Toronto is sitting in third with 95. So technically, Boston still could catch Tampa, but I think a 4 point swing, and how many games they have left? 9. I guess it's possible, but it'd be tough. So it's probably going to fall just like that in terms of the final standings. But the wild cards, Philly is sitting in the first wild card with 88 points, and New Jersey is behind them with 84. Florida is probably the only team that realistically could catch them at this point. They have 81 points with 10 games left because they had a game get postponed, so they have the most games left to play of anyone sitting above them. Um, Carolina is sitting at 75 points. They're 9 back of Jersey with only 8 games left to play. I feel like that's pretty much insurmountable at this point, don't you?
Yeah, pretty much, I would say.
Uh, Jersey would have to pretty much lose 7 out of the last 8 for Carolina to have a chance,
Nah,
and
it's
even
not
then,
happening.
Florida would probably get him before him. So,
Nah,
uh,
I doubt Florida's even going to be able to sneak in, honestly. So,
with the way Jersey and Philly have been playing, I doubt it. Those extra games on hand are going to help. honestly, well, there's 7 points back of Philly right now too, with 3 games left in hand. Even if they win all three, they're still a point back. But we'll have to see. I guess. I mean, Florida has been playing pretty good hockey lately. The one thing I can't say about the team is they played really well. I know one of the last game they played, the makeup game, was against Boston, so that's not going to help.
No.
Although at that point, Boston might not have anything left to play for. So, I mean,
Well, dude, actually, probably 2 weeks ago, it was actually looking like that last wild card might come down to Florida and Columbus. Um, so listen how crazy this is. When the Jackets were out west, because they lost, so I, I want to say they lost in LA and Anaheim. And at that point, what right after they had lost each of those two games, they only had like a 13.8% chance of making the playoffs.
yeah,
And then they last game of that road trip, they won in San Jose, and I don't believe they've lost since then. Um,
they're 10 in a row right now.
right. But so prior to that, when I was looking at schedules and whatnot, because like it was actually several nights ago, they played the Panthers, and I was so prior to this win streak, I was actually looking ahead, thinking that was actually probably going to be a big game for a potential wild card spot. But obviously, fortunately for the Jackets, they've rattled off 10 straight wins and like probably, I mean, pretty safely are in the playoffs at this point. But yeah, how insane is that? That just about 2 or so weeks ago, 13.8% chance of making it, and now they're pretty much a lock to get in.
Well, that's what a 10-game win streak will do for you, man.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Jackets are getting hot at the right time. I mean, last year they had a 16-game win streak, and we saw what good it did them. But keep in mind that was in the middle of the season. Usually,
Yeah,
you're
it was
able to
in
get
like
momentum in the playoffs.
yeah. I mean, wasn't it like between like December and January, I believe, or something, right?
Yeah.
So
And
yeah.
the crazy thing is, they were a 500 team out if you take away that 16-game win streak. And it's kind of the same this year. They've been playing pretty much 500 hockey outside this real good streak they're on now. Um,
Yeah, that I mean
so
that's been the strange thing with the Jackets is I think a lot of us we kind of figured they would be like an even stronger team than last year. I mean, they got Panarin and we just kind of figured they would be a pretty damn good team, and they really struggled for most of the year until this streak. They just were not playing good hockey at all, but
yeah,
um, at the right time, which I don't know. We'll see. We'll make our actual picks and whatnot as we get closer, but I think it's
yeah. Once
actually
once we actually know who's in and out for sure.
yeah, but. The way things are shaping up right now, I think it looks to me like it's a little bit probably inevitable that they will meet the Penguins yet again in the first round. And with the way things are shaping up, it seems like it might be the perfect storm. I think the Jackets might be able to exercise those. They might be able to get over that hump this season. So, um, I mean,
Possible,
we don't want to see that, but I think it might happen. But you know,
possible. But
we'll see.
yeah, let's pop over to the West and see what we got there. Nashville's the only team in the West that's clinched. They have 106 points and they're leading the Central. Winnipeg's coming up behind them with 100, and Minnesota's sitting behind them with 90 in third. Um, Over in the Pacific, Vegas has 100 points. They were the first expansion team to ever get to that 100-point margin. So, um, no matter what happens in the playoffs, it's a success of a season for Vegas, 100%.
Oh yeah.
San Jose is sitting in second in the Pacific with 93. LA is in third with 89. And then Anaheim is right on their heels in a wild card spot with 89. And Colorado is sitting in the second wild card with 88. Um, Right behind them, St. Louis has actually pushed themselves back into possibly a spot. They're at 87, only 1 point back of Colorado. And now Dallas has fallen down. They're at 84 points, so they're 4 points back of Colorado, and Colorado has a game in hand on them.
Hmm. Yeah, they've been hot too lately, right?
Colorado, yeah, yeah. McKinnon's if Taylor Hall doesn't win the Hart, I think McKinnon has to. Like, I don't really think
Um,
there's any way around it.
yeah, I think there could be a case for Malkin as well, although he's kind of tailed off lately though, so I don't know if
Here's the thing, though. When the way the Hart's worded, it's most valuable player. I love Gino. I think Gino, purely statistically wise, is probably he's definitely better than Hall. He's probably better than McKinnon. But are the Pens still probably at least somewhat, at least pushing for the playoffs without Malkin? Yeah, probably. I mean, they've still got Sid, they've still got Kessel. What does Colorado have without McKinnon? You know what I mean?
yeah, and that goes
And
even
what does
more so
Jersey
for
have without
Jersey.
Hall?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But I mean, he's sitting at third in the league. He's got 92 points right now. He's only three back in Kucherov for the Ross. So
Dude, holy, okay, speaking of Taylor Hall, I couldn't believe this stat. Um, I read this last night in the game pamphlet.
hmm
It was something like Taylor Hall is the first player for Jersey to eclipse 30 goals and 80 points since Kovalchuk, like back in like 2010.
yeah,
I was just like,
yeah. I mean,
I was like, yeah, that's the way they play hockey. Like, you know,
even
they
when they
just
went on their cup run in 2012, when they made it to the finals, they were playing off of Brodor's
yeah, yep,
goaltending and playing the trap. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
You just score a goal and hang on for dear life. Like,
hmm
um, I was like, damn.
But this right here is why I think McKinnon pretty much should win the Hart. He has 92 points. He's third in the league. He's done that in 66 games.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I mean, Kucherov has 72 games and he's got three more points. You know what I mean? Even Malkin's only 1 point behind him, but he's played five more games. So the fact that McKinnon's done that while also missing at least a couple games with injury is pretty friggin' impressive to me.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely agree with that. I didn't realize that he missed that many games. So,
Yeah, yeah. He's definitely. I think he should be the front runner for it. In my opinion. I mean, that's. And mind you, this is kind of what he was supposed to be when he was drafted. You know what I mean? He had a really good rookie year, and then kind of fell off for like 2 years there. He had a decent year the year they made the playoffs, and then I mean, the entire team played like crap last year. But I think we're starting to see McKinnon finally be the player he was supposed to be when he was drafted. I think he was first overall, wasn't he? I want to say he was.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So, but that's pretty much it for the NHL. We'll have to see what happens here over the next. What is it? 2 weeks left.
Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly when the playoffs start. I want to say probably like April, probably somewhere between April 9th and 11th, something like that.
Yeah.
So,
I think the
rough.
last games are April April 8th is the last regular season game. That's the makeup game with the Panthers and Bruins. So
Yeah, yeah. So, yep, about 2 weeks. uh, It'll be, yeah, so if that last game's 2 weeks away, my guess is the playoffs would start probably about like Wednesday, April 11th, something like that.
yeah,
But
I doubt they would. At the very least, they're not going to make Boston play back to back like that coming into the playoffs, starting on Monday. Um,
right.
I guess
Um,
theoretically they could start them as early as Tuesday, the 10th, but yeah.
yeah.
But, yeah, we're
Um,
coming down the wire. Come next weekend, we pretty much should know who's. Well, maybe not. We should have a better idea of who's in and out. We might still have some wild card jockeying, and position jockeying there. So at the very least, we
Excuse me.
might be able to eliminate a couple more teams.
Right. We'll probably have a better idea of a lot of maybe maybe aside from the Metro, since it's just a gigantic freaking crapshoot. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
it's a mess.
Uh, I mean, like by this time next week, Washington could either be in first place or like out of the playoffs. Like who knows? like, um,
Yeah.
so, um, all right. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and end things with the NFL. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. It has been a busy off season, Sean. So,
Oh boy.
um, I do not know if I've seen this much movement between big name players in a long time, to be honest with you. Let's start with the biggest thing that happened. I'm sure you probably heard about it. Kirk Cousins has signed with the Vikings. 3
Okay. Yes.
years, 28 mil a year, and that entire contract is guaranteed.
Jesus.
He could play 1/4 of football in that 3 years, and he's gonna make every dollar of that. I think 76 million, something like that, 74 million, something along this range. Um, yeah, it's a pretty massive contract. Mind you, this is the Vikings team that had three quarterbacks that I thought could have been argued as starters besides Cousins, and they let all three of those guys go and went out and got Cousins. Pretty crazy. But I mean, does that make them the team to beat in the NFC? I don't know if it makes them for sure the team to beat, but they're definitely one of the ones up there. I still think Philly has gotten better, and Philly just won the Super Bowl, so until you could say you could beat them, I don't think you can knock them off. But I think the Vikings have made a case for second place at the very least with that move.
Yeah. I mean, they probably should have gotten further than they did. Like it was just that. Was it like wasn't it just like that last
I mean,
play?
they made it to the championship,
Or no,
NFC
no.
championship.
Okay, right,
You're
right,
thinking of
right.
the Saints. You're
Oh
thinking of the Saints.
yeah. Okay, yeah.
The
Sorry.
Vikings shouldn't have got as far as they did, to be honest with you.
Yeah, yeah,
The
yeah, yeah.
Saints had a lead on them, and then the Vikings hit that miracle play um, with Stephen Diggs, which is basically just a corner deciding he wanted to go for a big hit instead of trying to just pan a
Right.
guy.
Okay, right, right, right.
But speaking of the three quarterbacks from the Vikings, they're all at new teams. Case Keenum has signed with the Broncos. He's probably going to be their starter. I'm guessing they draft another guy as well for the future, but he'll at least give them a quarterback to play for the next couple years while they get that going. Teddy Bridgewater, who is the most intriguing of the three, I thought, because I thought he had the most potential upside, but he's also got the issues with the knee. He went to the Jets. The Jets signed him as well as re-signed Josh McCown. So he legally shows they don't 100% trust him to give him the full starter reins, but he could easily beat out Josh McCown for the starter position there. Um, and then Sam Bradford has gone to the Cardinals. The Cardinals lost Carson Palmer. He retired. They didn't really have anybody else to come in. So Bradford's probably going to be the starter in Arizona unless they draft a quarterback.
Sammy.
Yep. Now, if how many games he plays, I don't know about that one. But um, other guys that have moved, speaking of the Cardinals, they cut Tyrann Mathieu, Honey Badger. He was making too much money apparently, and they needed to go through a quasi rebuild. So he has signed with the Texans, which sucks for me as a Colts fan because the Texans did not need to get better, and they did. um, this one surprised me. I don't know if you heard about this. The Packers cut Jordy Nelson.
Really?
Yeah,
Did he have that bad a year or what?
I mean he did, but that's because Aaron Rodgers only played 4 games. I mean, with Brett Hundley throwing you the ball, you're only going to do so much. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Um.
I don't know, man. I don't know if it was a cost saving thing because they did go out and they got Jimmy Graham at tight end. So I don't know if maybe they decided they needed a big tight end to play more than they needed another receiver because they still had Devontae Adams, um, who is pretty good as well and probably could be a number one guy. But yeah, they cut Jordy Nelson and he is signed with the Raiders. So the Raiders now have Derek Carr, and then on the outside they have Jordy Nelson, and they have I'm drawing a blank on his name, man. It's gonna kill me. Kid from Alabama. He's like only in his third year. I can't remember his name. But,
Alabama man.
but yeah, he's definitely helping them. You know, that's a heck of a move for them. Um, on top of that, once they signed Nelson, they didn't really have room for Crabtree, the Raiders, so they cut Crabtree. He signed with the Ravens. That's probably not a good move for you. You probably don't like to see that.
Well, yeah, you know.
Well, I mean, there's been arguments that Crabtree was probably their best receiver last year. Amari Cooper is the guy I could think of. I'd have to look him up. For some reason, his name was just escaping me.
I gotcha.
Um, but, uh, but yeah, the Ravens, they were light to say the best at receiver, aka they didn't have really freaking anybody since Steve Smith retired. So they get a big name guy with Crabtree there. The Jaguars are making a huge overhaul of their receiver position. They cut both Allen Robinson and Allen Hurns. Their number one and number two receiver. Robinson went to the Bears. Hurns went to the Cowboys. So
America's team,
America's team.
so they say.
Miami is rebuilding yet again. I don't know if you saw anything about that.
They never do that though.
Oh yeah. On top of trading Landry and some of the other moves they made, they cut Ndamukong Suh. He has not signed with anybody yet. He's still making the rounds, but there's been rumors he's going to go to LA, the Rams, and play alongside Aaron Donald. If they do that, that is a freakishly scary front line uh, with Donald and Sue down the middle of it.
Yeah.
hmm
Yeah.
There's been some other. I mean, honestly, if I covered every signing that happened in the NFL, we'd be here for 2 hours. I mean, things like Osweiler. Osweiler got signed to Miami, but that's a backup move, you know. There's other minor moves out there, but these are the ones that I saw were guys that could actually make a difference to the team they're going to.
Yeah. No, I mean that makes sense.
But it's been crazy, man. It's been pretty much ever since the Super Bowl finished. It's been pretty nonstop. I mean, started off with Michael Bennett getting traded. Richard Sherman got cut. Um,
Well,
the Alex Smith and trade to Washington.
and correct me if I'm wrong, but that's a little unusual for the NFL, isn't it? I mean, trades aren't quite as common as they are in other sports, right? I mean, like
They
it's
do
a
usually, if they happen, they usually happen this time of year in the off season. There's
true.
not a whole lot of in-season trading that goes on in the NFL. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's not. I mean, there hasn't been a whole bunch of trades. Most of these have been guys that got cut by the team they were with, or not re-signed, and then re-signed somewhere else. This has
Right.
been a lot of free agency move more than anything else. There were only a couple trades, like the Alex Smith trade and the Michael Bennett trade, are the only two I can think of as big name actual trades that happened. But
Gotcha.
yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a thing where in the NFL, like star players do get cut. Well, not star players, but impact players like this do get cut. So teams won't usually trade for them because they know that the team, if they really want to get rid of them, they'll just cut them, so they can just sign them without having to give up something. So it's a little bit different than hockey, where you and I make our armchair GM business at.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I got, man. That's trying to catch up from the last 2 weeks. Luckily, other than the NFL, there's not a lot of player movement or anything going on, so it's mostly just covering, position standings, things like that.
Right. Right. Um. Yeah, like you said. At least particularly in the NBA and the NFL,
Uh-huh.
we are pretty much in. I mean, in the playoffs. I mean, we're getting there. And we're only a couple episodes away from being the start of baseball season, so that'll pick up
Yep.
too. And obviously, I guess by next episode, what we'll be in the Sweet 16, Elite Eight, one of the two, right?
Oh, they're already in the Elite Eight.
Oh Jesus, okay.
They play those games today and tomorrow. Um, we'll definitely be in the Final Four. It might even be to the championship game, to be honest with you, or know who's in it at the very least.
Okay, cool.
The tournament only lasts like 2 weeks, so.
Right. All right. Well, yeah. We'll have a good bit more to go over then. So obviously we will do it again then, man.
Sounds good,
Thanks,
Billy.
thanks as always for all the info.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you like and subscribe and share and comment and all that jazz. Make sure you keep an eye out for our weekly podcast on video games, the Console Space Podcast. And yeah, like I said, we'll do it again next week, man. And I'll talk to you then.
Sounds good.
Later, bro.